Tired of leaving embarrassing smells in the bathroom causing you to slink away? Need a little bit of extra lift trying to nail that perfect hairstyle you spent hours on? Just simply struggling to blow out a candle? Finding it difficult to cool down after some heavy, strenuous exercise? What you need is the Flying Fidget Spinner, the first of its kind. You can use it to blow away those embarrassing bathroom smells. Be gone! Save hours in the mirror working on that perfect Ladrib lift using the Flying Fidget Spinner. It pumps out more hot air than kebab. And need to cool down after some very strenuous exercise? Don't worry, the Flying Fidget Spinner's got you covered. But don't take my word for it. Let's check in with these other pro pilots.
Hello, I'm Andy RC and welcome back to my RC channel, and today we're going to be looking at this. Now, this Flying Fidget Spinner is a lot of fun for people in the UK like myself because we are only getting about 6 hours of daylight per year. So this thing keeps me very well entertained while I'm having a cup of tea and a bicky indoors. G'day, Stu from UAV Futures here, and today, well, some of you are probably sick of fidget spinners and the other half of you is scratching your head thinking, has Stuart lost the plot? And yeah, I guess that's yes on both of those things, but what we're going to be talking about today is some of these we got a package from TBS, some of these little fidget spinners that fly around, which are just a bit of a joke, a bit of a gimmick, but it was pretty fun. And also, this is pretty special here. So this is an open source frame design from TBS that is really coming in. It's great quality, but it is a budget frame. So I think it's like $27. I'll put the link down below. But that's crazy because in the past, I guess I'm going to leave a little poll up here. Do you think that TBS gear generally is too expensive? You know, yes or no. And then, do they make good gear though? And I'm going to put yes or no. Do you think do you think that they make quality gear? Yes or no. And I'm going to bet you that most people out there think yes, it is pretty expensive, but they also make some top-notch stuff. Now, a little while ago, I was a bit scared because I reviewed the TBS Oblivion. You can go watch that review, a little card should pop up there. I wasn't the biggest fan, and I really was worried about some backlash from TBS, but I do have to say, I was wrong on that front. There was absolutely no backlash from them in terms of my review or whatsoever. They were more than happy with, well, I don't know if they were happy with what I said, but they took it on board, they listened, and then I wasn't sure if I was going to hear from them again, and they said, hey Stuart, well, thanks for that review. Would you like to check out our frame? And, you know, we'll throw some of these things in as well to give away to your supporters. So, yeah, I was like, sure. So I really got to take my hat off to TBS on that front. I thought they were going to be upset with my review, but it turns out they just, you know, they're happy to listen to any criticism, and I think that speaks a lot about a company as well when, you know, they're happy to listen about what people say. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to sticking this on the bench. This is their open source frame. I'm going to show you why it is a fantastic budget option that is rigid as all get out, and then we might have a quick little squiz at these little flying fidget spinners as well, because there's not really too much to them besides you turn them on, you spin them around, and then just have a little bit of fun. And do keep them away from your missus's hair, or you might be in trouble. Friendly from me, let's stick it on the bench and get started in 3, 2, 1. Righty, here it is on the bench. We've got the little fidget spinner, and the main part I want to talk about, the Source One frame, the 5-inch. And look, let's just get this out of the way. Silly little fidget spinner. I don't know if TBS makes it. It was on their website. They didn't send them over. It's got an on-off switch here, and that's about it. You just spin it, and it's going to turn on in a little second, hopefully. And then, well, it's got no real... That's it. It doesn't stop. So you can throw it, do some crazy stuff with it. A little bit of a gimmick. I was having fun with it, but probably after 10 minutes, well, who knows? Maybe if you got some kids, they might have some fun with this sort of stuff. But fidget spinners, I'm pretty sure that craze has gone. I might even get some downvotes for putting a fidget spinner on the show, but this one flies. Let's throw that to the side, quite literally, and let's have a look at the good stuff. Now, the reason I'm so excited about this is because, look, frames, I don't do that many frame reviews, bare frames reviews too much on the channel anymore, but this one from TBS, like I mentioned at the start, they make some quality kit, absolutely great stuff, but it is very, very pricey. And this one, I'm very happy to say, is coming in at a very, very respectable price. I think it's 27 bucks. It's definitely under $30, which is crazy, I guess, for a first-hand manufacturer great frame. Now, look, there's not too much you can say about frames. We're going to go over a bit of an overview, then sort of break it down, look at the individual parts and how they all go together. But it's a 5-inch frame. It's made up of 4 individual arms. It's very similar to, I guess, like the Alien, the Reverb, that sort of style, where they've got a little brace plate in the middle. But let's stick it on the scales, find out how much it weighs. And I definitely think that this thing is made to be more of a freestyle sort of rig rather than a racer, but I do think it would still go pretty well. So it's coming in at 121 grams. So look, it's definitely not the lightest frame. What I will say, this thing is built like an absolute tank, and it makes me laugh when reviewers do this, and I've been guilty of doing this too, but sometimes I see, look how strong this thing is, and they could shake their hands as much as they like, but you're just gonna have to trust me when I say the carbon in here, I'd expect nothing less from TBS to have some AAA grade carbon, and it does feel like this. Even when I was putting it together, the tolerances in here were super duper tight, and it really is a nice little compact frame. Now it's designed to spin some 5-inch props, you know, you've got your motor holes on the outside, but it's got 4mm arms right there, so it shouldn't be breaking anytime soon, and I really feel like with the strength of this carbon, you're going to have a pretty gnarly crash, and I'd say this would be a great frame for some bando flying out there, because bandos, they look awesome, and that, you know, abandoned sort of flying, you see a lot of it, a lot of freestyle pilots fly around some crazy places, usually with a whole bunch of concrete and pillars and, you know, brick, all that sort of stuff, but what they don't often show you is the amount of carnage that comes up after it, so you definitely need a very robust frame. I think this thing's going to hold up pretty well. Now these arms, they connect to this bottom plate, then they've also got this pretty ingenious little bit with press nuts in the middle that get sandwiched together. Each one of those, I believe, is 2.5 mil, is actually 3 mil actually. So you've got a 3 mil bottom plate and then a 2 mil top plate. Now other than that, it's just got some standoffs all the way through it. I do like how they've got a lot of standoffs actually, because I think that makes it more rigid. I mean, you know, following that whole robust sort of theme. Plenty of places to put your little GoPro straps and all that sort of stuff, you know, if you need to zip tie some things down. You've got some little cutouts for your antenna, and they also do, I'll link it down below, they also have a whole bunch of different 3D printed parts that you can order or you can print out yourself. If we move towards the front, I guess we've just got our little sort of camera options where, you know, you can screw this in. It's designed to take a full-size camera, and if you're putting a micro in there, you need to add some of those little adapters, all that sort of jazz. And then the other part I want to point out is, because this is an open source frame, there's a whole bunch of 3D printed parts. I'll link them down below. You can print this out and sort of customize it any way you like. Now what we usually do, you know, after we go through this sort of components, we talk about the design, the pros and the cons, all that sort of stuff, and the quality, and I've got to say the designer thing, it's nothing groundbreaking, it's nothing we haven't seen before. It's like the Reverb, it's like some of the Aliens, all those sorts of ones that just go together, 4 arms, sandwich plate in the middle, you know, the QAVX, we've seen it all before, but for this price, I guess that's where I am really impressed. Now when it comes to quality, I've got to say fantastic as well. You know, I wouldn't expect anything less from TBS. They do make some of the best kit out there, but you know, it's usually very expensive. And the quality of this thing, don't let its price fool you. When I was putting it together, the carbon, it's not chamfered at all, but it feels so nice. It feels so rigid, and it really, really is a robust frame once you've got it all together and screwed down. And then I guess, look, it's a bit of a short review today, but that brings me on to the pros and the cons about the Source One 5-inch. Things I don't like about it. Well, it just looks pretty generic. I guess that's about it. I'm complaining about how it looks. Oh, now one other con too, you are going to have to be a little bit space conscious. So when you are building this, you can't have the tallest stack in there, because look, when you put the arms, you could always flip this upside down and have this part hanging out underneath. It might look a little bit scrappier, but you do need to be wary. If you've got a really tall stack, it's probably not going to fit in this frame. Things I do like. I like the replaceable arms. I love the quality of the carbon. I love how nicely the tolerances are. I love how it goes together. And my favorite thing, I love the price. I definitely think for people who want a top-notch frame from a company like TBS, something like this is going to put them in the right direction. I think it's going to hold up great in a lot of crashes. And for that 27, you know, under $30 mark, it's definitely, I got to take my hat off to them. I am very pleased to see this frame on the market. Alrighty, so there it is. There was my Tech Tuesday, I guess. Look at this frame from TBS, and overall, I've got to say the tolerances this thing in here, the quality, like everything that comes from TBS, the quality is absolutely top-notch. I love it, and what I really didn't expect, but absolutely love as well, is the price. So I'm really happy to recommend this frame to people out there, whether you're getting into the hobby, whether you want a backup frame. This thing, for its price, I would say is the best value frame I have ever seen. It's extremely strong, extremely rigid, well thought out, open source project with heaps of parts. You can 3D print, all that sort of stuff. So, you know, hats off to TBS. You've done a fantastic job when it comes to this frame. Now, also, massive shout out to TBS for sending some of these little silly flying fidget spinners. I'm going to post them off to my Patreon supporters, so I'll put that link down below. Massive shout out to you Patreon guys, because look, you are the backbone of this channel, so thank you so much. For everybody else, subscribe for more FPV related content, and as always, happy flying! I'm going to see if I can get one to bounce straight off the camera lens. This sounds like a terrible idea. Ooh.
Okay. Yeah, it's recording.
Does this even work?